my drinking buddies. Today we are making two very special martinis. They're both originals, they're both my personal recipe. The first one is out of this world. It is extremely creative, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun making this for your friends or for your family or whoever it might be. It is a wild cocktail that is just near and dear to my heart. It is the ham on rye martini. Why? Well, because I was eating this delicious burger that had onion jam on it, and I thought, this onion jam, I can get into a cocktail. You might be thinking, why? Well, onion jam is an onion product that has been cooked so long, it has removed most of its onion flavor. And it is, at that point, more of a sweet and almost jammy consistency, and is often served on burgers. Well, I decided I wanted to put it in a cocktail. So first, we're gonna be making some onion jam infused sweet vermouth. Let's get on it. Okay, so here we have a few things we're gonna use to make our onion jam. We have onions, about a sixth cup of sugar, 2 ounces of water, our sweet vermouth, and some clover honey. That's what I have. Any honey will do. I got my pan heating up. I'm gonna put a little bit of that water in there. We don't want to use oil to cook these onions because we don't want any oils in our cocktail. Put a little more of that water in there, get it all around. And then we're gonna put about 1/4 of an onion's worth in our pan. Now, we are going to let this start cooking, and we are going to let it simmer for a while. We want these onions to really, really caramelize. And then once they started caramelizing, we're gonna add our sugar and honey, and at the very last step, we're gonna add the vermouth. Why? Well, we don't wanna really burn off very much of that alcohol. So I'm gonna come back, and these onions are gonna be caramelized. So bear with me. Okay, so my onions have started to caramelize. How can I tell? Well, they've started to change color. They're starting to turn darker brown. And also, the oniony smell in my kitchen has been replaced with a sweet smell. And unfortunately, YouTube has yet to embrace smell-o-vision, but hopefully soon, because the aromas in my kitchen right now are fantastic. And through this process, I've just continued to add a little bit more water to the pan as I stir. Don't want to burn any part, just want to make sure I'm cooking them evenly and getting all of that good sugar to start coming out of these onions. Well, now I'm going to add in the rest of the water. I'm going to add in a dash of our honey. And I think I'm going to only use about half of this sugar. I had extra planned just in case I needed it, but I do not need as much sugar as I need. So it's going to be about a tablespoon of sugar. Don't need too much. Don't want to overdo it. These onions are going to be sweet enough as it is. And I'm going to stir this until it starts to form somewhat of a caramel sauce. Just a caramel sauce with onions in it. All right. Gonna let this cook for probably another 10 minutes. Okay, so it's actually only been about 5 minutes, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing. So I went ahead and dropped the heat, and I'm just giving it another stir. And as you can see, it's really jammy. I mean, they're really getting there so quickly. I think it's because I had it on such a high heat before this time. The last time I made this cocktail, it took a little longer, but I think I had the heat lower. And I'm doing so since I'm continually stirring. It doesn't matter that the heat's a little lower because I'm not burning anything. So I have here my onion jam. It is pretty much complete. And now I'm going to add in my vermouth. I have here 2 ounces of sweet vermouth. Oftentimes when I'm making a Manhattan, I will use higher end vermouth, but I have this Gallo here, which is bottom shelf, and it serves nicely for our purposes. You'll notice that that went to boil immediately. I'm going to remove it from the heat and stir it all in. Seeing as how it went to a boil immediately when it went in the pan, it definitely cooked off some of that alcohol. But we're not really in the vermouth for its alcohol anyway. We're in it for its flavor. We have, 100 proof rye for the alcohol. All right. And I'm going to put this on low heat and let a little bit, I'm actually going to let this vermouth evaporate a little bit. Don't need to go crazy here. Don't need to cook it for a half hour or anything. I'm just going to give it a few minutes on the burner to let a little bit of the vermouth cook off and infuse into these onions. Okay, so I have removed my vermouth from the heat. It's been about 5 minutes since I finished letting the onions kind of soak up some of that vermouth flavor. And I'm going to store this in a little plastic container in my refrigerator because I can use it for other ham on rye martinis later in the week. Doubt it'll last very long, but certainly a week with the alcohol in here. All right, I'm gonna put this in the fridge to let it fully cool off before we try to make a cocktail with it. All right, my drinking buddies, now it's time to start building this crazy cocktail. In my shaker tin, I have ice, and I have added 2 ounces of Knob Creek straight rye whiskey. This is 100 proof. This is a really solid rye whiskey. I highly recommend it. And no, they don't sponsor me, but Knob Creek, if you're out there, please sponsor me. All right, so 2 ounces of Knob Creek. And then we're going to do a ½ ounce of our onion jam vermouth. And yes, there's going to be some onions in there. That's okay. We're going to double strain this bad boy. All right. We have our ½ ounce. Let's put this over here. ½ ounce. Add that in. And we're going to stir this for 25 seconds. All right, it was a little longer than 25. I forgot I was supposed to be counting. Chilled glass. 2 slices of ham for a garnish. Double strain. Since there's so many things that can get caught in the shaker, I recommend shaking it around to make sure you get everything out. All right. Ham on rye martini. Let's give it a taste. Man, I just really love this drink. It's probably the most creative thing I've ever came up with. I mean, you can tell me I'm an idiot in the comments, that's fine, but I just had an idea for getting onion jam into a drink, and I thought this would be a good way to do it. It's savory, it's sweet, it's delicious. Now, it could be crazy. Maybe this is so delicious because this Knob Creek is so good, but this tastes like I'm eating a delicious ham sandwich. Sorry for my dogs. They heard something. The wind changed directions. This tastes like just such a delicious ham sandwich almost. The rye gives it a nice spiciness. This ham on the side gives it a wonderful savoriness. Onion flavor is subtle, but there. Get way more sweetness from the onion jam than we do an actual flavor of onions. This is one of the best things I've ever made. No joke. Might be my favorite cocktail I've ever created. I recommend you make it at home. It wasn't that difficult. It took me less time than I was expecting. The last time I tried to cook the onion jam on a lower heat and it took longer, but as long as you're standing over the onion jam and you're stirring it while you go, you can make it on a higher heat. Oh yeah, this is excellent. I want to make this for everyone I've ever met. And that's why I'm on this channel. All right, drinking buddies, now we are going to make another one of my originals. This one is going to be a fruit cocktail martini. So first thing we're gonna do is make some pear gin. How do you make pear gin? You simply take one pear, cut it up, throw it in a jar. Make sure you don't have any seeds in there. 1 week later, filter that out into a jar like this. Second ingredient you're gonna make, another homemade ingredient. Trust me, you're gonna love these. Once you made them, you're gonna start using them for everything. This one is peach gin. How do you make it? Cut up a peach, put it in a jar, cover it in gin, let it sit for a week. Make sure you don't get any of the pit in there. Peach pits, fruit seeds can have arsenic in them. You don't want that. But this homemade ingredient is one that I've been making for years and I use it all the time in cocktails. It's not gonna be 40% alcohol like it originally was when you started with gin. It's gonna be a little lighter than that, but it still retains some of its nice juniper flavor, and now it carries a real fresh punch of peach. The pear one is relatively new, but it's delicious and it works really well in this drink. So for a fruit cocktail martini, we're gonna need 1 ounce of our pear gin. Into the shaker. We're gonna stir it, but we're pouring it into the shaker. 1 ounce of peach gin. One ounce of pineapple juice. And 1/2 ounce of maraschino. As you know, I love the maraschino. I use it religiously in cocktails. If you're gonna be a fan of this channel, make sure to get yourself a bottle of Luxardo. All right, I have retrieved a chilled glass from the freezer. We are going to stir this guy for about 20 seconds. Pour it into our chilled martini glass. We're going to garnish this with a maraschino cherry and a piece of pear. All right, let's give it a taste, shall we? Oh man, that's so refreshing. The maraschino comes through really nice. You get that cherry flavor. Love those real maraschino cherries. Those are the best. Pineapple's there. You get a really nice fresh flavor from each of the infused gins. The juniper is really muted in this drink, which is not a bad thing because I wanted it to taste like fruit cocktail. And this one really does bring up the thought in my head of childhood and drinking and eating a fruit cocktail. Peach, pear, cherry, pineapple, what more could you ask for? This one goes down real smooth. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you leave a comment down below, that helps the channel out a lot too. And thank you for watching.